Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're at the tippity top of Tenshukaku, the home of the Raiden Shogun, because we are jumping into some Raiden Shogun lore this time. We just finished up Kujosara, which is like the mini-me Raiden Shogun, which is kind of funny. So we are now jumping into Raiden Shogun lore overall. Very exciting to learn this because as of version 2.5, we are getting a bunch more story content, lore content regarding Yae Miko, the Raiden Shogun, and Ei, and seemingly a new enemy of eternity. So before we jump into this, I definitely want to give out my personal theories of what 2.5 is going to focus on. We have about a week before the new 2.5 content comes out at the time of this recording right now. So before we jump into this, I just want to say, I think it's going to be very interesting, the story content that we get for version 2.5 regarding the Raiden Shogun and like the boss fight that we're going to have with her and everything, because the way you have to think about it is we're getting an Act 2 story quest with Raiden Shogun, right? In Act 1 of the story quest, it was us interacting with the Raiden Shogun and interacting with Ei and really getting Ei to kind of view the world from a new lens outside of the tunnel vision of eternity that she's been applying to this entire time. After stopping the Vision Hunt decree, after walking the streets of Inazuma, seeing all the people and just seeing how so much has changed under the rule of the Raiden Shogun since when she was originally appointed as the new Archon, even learning about things like Dongo Milk, the Yae Publishing House, fan fiction, and all of the other fictions of literature, we have slowly started to change the Raiden Shogun's worldview on things. And change is an enemy of eternity. Originally, she created this puppet and programmed this puppet to maintain, to preserve all things eternal. Change is an enemy of eternity. And if Ei is changing, if her worldviews are changing, she is directly conflicting with the puppet's objective to preserve eternity. And so you have this battle of the mind versus the battle of the body. What I think is happening, the best way I can summarize it, is the Raiden Shogun puppet is an admin, and it is now changing all of the passwords, preventing Ei from having any type of autonomy or agency over the things that she wants to do because it sees Ei as a threat. And it's pretty much turning on its creator because its creator programmed it to preserve eternity, and now its creator is going against that very mandate, that very protocol that was the whole point of its creation. So now it seems like when she mentions in the trailer, it seems like she won't allow me to do with this body as I wish. It seems like the puppet is not allowing her any kind of control over herself. And I feel like now is probably where she probably realizes I kind of fucked up with programming this puppet. I don't really know necessarily if that's how things are. We're gonna find out. We're gonna learn about her lore. We're gonna learn about the puppet, probably how she created it, maybe Scaramouche and everything else regarding that, her eternal plane. And it seems like Yae Miko is able to help because Yae's the one who taught her how to put her consciousness into objects. And obviously the Traveler is gonna help and stuff like that. So I think what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be fighting the true puppet, the master control, the final security measure of the puppet. And if we defeat it, maybe Ei will get control of her puppet body back. And, you know, with the help of Yae Miko, she's allowing us to go into like the psyche. And that's why we see two shoguns at the end of the trailer. We see one representing the puppet and we see one representing the mind of Ei. So I think that's what's happening right now. I think that's what we're ultimately getting into. And I find that to be super fucking cool because a lot of people said that the Raiden Shogun story quest is stupid, it was boring, it was lame, it didn't matter. And I feel like, again, these people are looking for something that just isn't there for them with Genshin. Not everything is going to be hype, not everything is going to be action, not everything is going to be unga bunga fighting and damage and content and all that other stuff, especially from content creator standpoint. Like, you really have to give a fuck about these characters to care about the quests that you're playing. And if you don't, it seems like it's a waste of time for people. But I felt like the Raiden Shogun's quest was very mellow, and it definitely gave us a perspective on her and how she views the world compared to everybody else and her situation being a mind within a puppet that she created. But it's crazy how that foundation was laid all those months back, and now it's being doubled over by the repercussions of that. The fact that the one thing that you've been striving for, eternity, is turning on you. I just think that's incredible story writing, and I'm really, really excited to see what becomes of all of that at the end of 2.5 with Ei, if she gets her original body back, if Yae Miko ends up helping her, her, and everything else in between. Those are my personal theories going into a week before 2.5. None of this is confirmed. We don't know what's actually going to happen, and I really, really hope it's hype, and it's going to be, right? Like, we're getting a fucking Naruto, fucking Susanoo, Eternal Mangekyo fucking boss fight with the Raiden Shogun's, like, ultimate master control puppet form. So I actually think it's going to be super sick to see all of that come together, but from a lore's perspective, it's just going to be more rewarding for people who care about lore, who care about world building, who care about characters, and who care about what happens after all of this is said and done. So that's just my personal take. With all that said, we're going to get into the Raiden Shogun character lore. Birthday, June 26, affiliated with Inazuma City with the gnosis of Electro. Her Excellency, the almighty Narukami Ogasho, who promised the people of Inazuma an unchanging eternity, is having her mind changed for the first time ever by the Traveler. You love to see it. Okay, let's jump into it. Character details. Since the dawn of life, mankind has always bore an interesting yearning for and curiosity about the world. This is the anchor point of their cognition and the foundation of all reasoning. The world of the people of Inazuma is also thus. There, thunder, lightning, wind, and rain are primordial facts of life, as well as light and the sea and the Raiden Shogun. Babes nestling in their mother's arms hear tales of the Shogun's slaying of many gods and conquering of other races. When young men and women roam the islands, they see the gorge split asunder by the blade of lightning and the pale, still standing bones of the giant snake. Rest in peace, Orobashi. You were done so fucking dirty, my guy. Soldiers take to the battlefield with glory to the Shogun and her everlasting reign upon their lips. The people working in contentment and peace know that the Shogun and her loyal tri-commission are there. The great name of the Raiden Shogun has long shaken off the shackles of mere life, becoming the eternal traditional belief of Inazuma. People trust in this great name and its might, believing that their descendants shall witness the same sights, that the same fates will form the foundations of their inner worlds, and that this will pass on from generation to generation. This is the eternal paradise that the almighty Shogun promised her people. Yeah, and I don't know about you, but I think Inazuma is the most depressing, doom and gloom place I have ever experienced so far in Genshin Impact. These characters, these NPCs, these people of Inazuma have lived through famine and disease and war and like some of the worst shit imaginable. Even these outer regions that are lost to time, like Surumi Island, like Rue and the people of Seirai Island, and Enkonomiya, which is loosely connected to Inazuma through, you know, it being underwater, the Sangonomiya people. Like, this place just fucking sucks. And I feel so much for these people like Masanori and Choji's family, you know, and Higi Village and all these other places that were just left to shit after everything that happened, with everything that's happened with the slaying of Orobashi, the Vision Hunt Decree, the Sakoku Decree. And it's like, bro, I promised my people eternity. Well, thank God the fucking Traveler showed up, or it would have been an eternity of misery for these people, am I right? So let us get into it. Character story 1. The true name of the Raiden Shogun is Raiden Ei. In her long road, she has witnessed the price that Inazuma has had to pay for progress over the hundreds and thousands of years. The happiest years of her life had passed her by, and those she once considered friends became her foes. In the end, she even lost the reason to which she wielded her sword. Where there is progress, there must be loss. Ei believed that this was a ironclad rule of the world, with time as its merciful enforcer. The greatest and most prosperous nation of man collapsed overnight. Literally collapsed overnight, fucking Conria. And even that the most ancient Liyue Harbor would say farewell to its Geo Archon. We know the real reason why. The winds of parting came whistling in from the outer edges of time. However, resounding the Raiden Shogun's name centuries later, millennia later, someday Inazuma will lose the protection of its deity. As a warrior, she was wary of all foes. Even if that enemy was a crisis as intangible as time's passage, she had to find a countermeasure, a weapon that she could use to defeat it in time. Her answer, eternity. Only eternity can freeze all things under the sky, make Inazuma truly deathless. Then, while things are still good, let us have stillness. Let us march towards eternity. That's such an oversight. Your views might not change, but like on an individual level, like change is inevitable. People want to move locations. People want to listen to different music. People want to taste different foods. People want to experience new things in life. It's just inevitable. It was just going to be undone inevitably. It just sucks that all these people had to like suffer up until the point where we came through to change things. At the same time, she wanted things to stay the same because things used to be good with her sister and Saigu and the Tengu guy that was in that trailer with her and the Oni person that was in the trailer with her. Sasayori and Chiyu. Yeah, okay. Things were great. You know what I mean? Yae Miko was probably around, and then Kanria happened, and then her sister died, and that really kind of changed everything for her. I feel like her grief and depression also like echoed throughout her region. She literally disassociated with everything, and she let the Raiden Shogun puppet take over. So I do feel bad for her in that sense, because obviously you can't predict everything. Even despite what Paimon said, even gods cry. You know what I mean? So I can't really blame her too much. If anything, it feels like this is a defense mechanism and also a way to prevent Kanria from happening again to her people. Kanria changed too much. Kanria got too advanced. We don't really understand why Kanria got destroyed. We probably have some understanding that it might also be why Enkanomiya was left behind because of the Before Sun and Moon. And we know that there were envoys from Kanria that went looking for the book in Enkanomiya. So I don't know if they ever ended up getting a taste of knowledge of that book and that's what led them to get destroyed as well, or if maybe they got too big for their britches and they proved to be a threat to Celestia and they decided to stop them that way as well. But she didn't want another Kanria to happen to her people. So if we stay the same and we don't change, we don't evolve, we don't adapt, we don't mature, then we'll never have a target on our back. You know what I mean? Character story 2. From beings with a perishable form of flesh to pursue eternity, they must first solve the unavoidable problem of lifespan. This limited time troubled A greatly until one day when a mysterious technique came before her eyes as if by a stroke of fate. Using this technique, one could create intricate puppets indistinguishable from true life. In theory, this puppet could perfectly imitate everything about A. It could surpass the limits of her lifespan and defend Inazuma forever. Yet, how could creating a copy of an Archon be a simple affair? A conducted countless experiments to this effect, discarding a great many failed products and spent an unimaginable amount of time and resources. And by proxy, Scaramouche was created. But at last, by her dogging pursuits and warrior spirit, she was able to create a flawless puppet. A newborn Raiden Shogun sat there silently, listening to A speak all about her, and even about them. The future of Inazuma was here, inscribed upon a glorious blueprint. The automaton had but one question to ask A. There is no turning back from forsaking your form. Do you regret nothing? Your existence is my answer. Then A transferred her consciousness into the blade, and thus was born the plane of Euthymia. Oh my god. We know that Yae Miko taught her how to transfer her consciousness. So whenever the Musou no Hirotachi comes out, that's when A's nearby. At least I think. Yeah, because the blade is within the puppet, and calling forth the blade is, you call it from the bosom, if you will. So this basically explains a bit more intricately, like the step-by-step process. She's like, okay, I want eternity. I need to be eternal. So I need to create a puppet, get rid of my flesh and bone body, go into the body of a puppet, something that can survive for forever. Then she's going to give the puppet mandates, preserve eternity, go on autopilot. And this would have worked had we never showed up. But because we showed up, we stopped the Vision Hunt decree, we took her out for some dongo milkshakes and started giving her a little taste of change in this world. Now her puppet's turning on her. You know what I mean? Like, we were such an anomaly because we were an exception to the rule of eternity, and that literally undid everything, and now it's coming back to bite her. Character story 3. Before Raiden Ei became the shogun, she was a samurai responsible for seeing that the previous shogun's orders were carried out. The previous Electro Archon, Raiden Makoto. Oh, dude. I love how their names were Ryden and then their name. The previous Electro Archon, Raiden Makoto, was no great fighter, and the things A had charged over were mostly matters of warfare and slaughter. However, A also had moments of repose away from battle, sitting with her friends under the sakura tree and playing Karuta. That reminds me of the trailer where we see them all sitting together. I think they were sitting under a sakura tree actually during one of her trailers. Due to her character, A was always the most wooden player. She was never the final victor, nor did she ever have a taste of prizes that the Kitsune Saigu reserved for the winner. We know about Saigu from the Kazari quest. Thus, she poured the effort that she put into her swordsmanship into Karuta practice, often pestering Makoto and Mikoshi Chiyo. Mikoshi Chiyo is the Oni that was also in that trailer, to Karuta matches, or spending much time by moonlight reading the poetry inscribed on the cards out loud. At last, the day came that under the sakura trees, A would defeat opponent after opponent. Even the mighty mighty Tengu would be felled after a hard-fought battle, and thus she was crowned the champion. Ei let out a victorious swoop by her victory, only to be greeted by the sounds of her friends' laughter. Aw, this is so wholesome. Only then did she realize that she had lost her usual composure entirely, before snapping her arms back down and reverting to her usual cool facade. Of course, her friends did not intend to make sport of her. Indeed, they understood her character and the manner in which she had worked ever so hard to come out on top. As for the Kitsune Saigu, oh how amused she looked as she presented Ei with some pastries. I said it was a reward, yes, but it was simply some handmade cakes of mine. I didn't think you'd be so concerned about it, Ei. Well then, enjoy the spoils of your victory to your heart's content. This is so sad. Ei was hardly one to be greedy for snacks, but as a samurai, she firmly believed that what she lost would be reclaimed. These pastries were more akin to the vindications of her desire to win, but it was not long after that cool demeanor of hers broke into a smile again. The cakes were lovely, just like the taste of victory. As for the clumsy attempt to hide her smile, one could only say that it was an interesting sight all around for her friends. To this day, Ei would often remember that sakura tree, even though she had not gone to see it in a long time, and even though no one sits under anymore, she wished that time might stop forever. Damn, dude. You gotta feel for her though. Losing her friends and her sister, like all the shit that happened. You know what I mean? I think everyone has a moment like that where things are just so perfect that you're just like, this please, forever please, thank you. The only thing you can really do is cherish the moment. This entire character story 3 was essentially the first bits of that trailer before all of her friends, I don't know for what purpose or for what reason. We see the first trailer scene where it's her and her 3 friends, and then it snaps to her fighting Orobashi, and then it snaps back, and then the Tengu's gone. So I don't know if the Tengu also fought with Orobashi and the Tengu died and that's why she decided to kill Orobashi in the process. If Orobashi was trying to put up a front to protect the people of Enkanomiya and Sangonomiya from what it knew about the Sun and Moon book. And then it snaps back to her and her 2 friends. And then it snaps back to her fighting against the Oni, I believe it was. And then it snaps back and then it snaps again and she's fighting all of these animals. Also, there was that one trailer that we saw where she actually killed Kapatsier from Seirai Island. I think because Kapatsier went on a fucking rampage after Rue died. And then she's like, oh, well, I gotta kill that thing too. It's causing some problems. That's an error of eternity. And so like everything just kind of went to shit one after the other, after the other, after the other. I feel really bad for her overall. I'm really, really, really happy we're getting an Act 2 story quest for her. I'm really excited to see how that pans out. Character story 4. Ei still remembers the way in which Makoto greatly loved the scenery of Inazuma, its cuisine, and the story of its people, and how she loved telling Ei all about it. Though they both understood the concept of Erosion well, Makoto was unlike Ei, who worried about the future more often. Instead, Makoto's energies were focused on the present. Yeah, so Erosion is almost kind of like your memory gets eroded. It's kind of like what happened with Ajdaha. Like Ajdaha used to be peaceful and used to live amongst the gods and amongst the Adepti and whatnot, and slowly over time, I almost feel like it's like a form of Alzheimer's or even like dementia, where over the natural course of time, everything else can maintain, but your mind slowly starts to go until you just forget who you are. And that is like the ultimate fate of any god. You can live forever, but you won't necessarily be yourself forever. Then Ei would only smile wryly, realizing that she, the Kagemusha, was even more old-fashioned than the real Raiden Shogun. She thought to herself that she must learn to be more leisurely, just like Makoto. But the times changed all too quickly, all but catching Ei off guard. Before she knew it, her hands already held the blade that the dying Raiden Makoto had passed on to her. This day, the Kagemusha was now the true Raiden Shogun. Yeah, so she was the shadow of her sister, taking on the battles and the warfare while her sister handled the normal things, like the everyday things, greeting the people, being in the presence of the people. They never knew that they were both twins. And then Conria happened and her sister died there, or during that battle, and everything changed. And it was on that day that Ei truly felt the agony of erosion. As time marched forward inexorably, even this blade, this Sakura, all life on Inazuma would fade before her eyes. This was the foundation of Inazuma, and it was the thing that the Raiden Shogun must defend. If you look at it this way, thinking ahead is not meaningless, nor is it vain arrogance. Having resolved herself, her life exceeded its mortal shell, and eternity descended upon the mortal plane. So another thing, and this goes back to that trailer, her teaser trailer. Initially, you see her, and then you see the reflection, like you see her like in the thunder and the rain and stuff. So that was the transition of Raiden Ei to the Raiden Shogun. It went from like her true self to her puppet puppet self, but it literally looked the exact same because we didn't know at the time the concept of the puppet and all that other stuff. So that was literally the transition of her old self into her new self. Her body lived up to its point and she let the puppet take over and she kind of disassociated to her eternal plane. Character story 5. One night, Raiden Ei entered the beautiful dreamscape while meditating. Here, there was nothing left between heaven and earth but her, and her, air quotes, that was akin to looking into a mirror. The automaton's voice flowed into her ears with a sigh. The eternity you resolved to establish in your heart has been shaken by the countless wishes of the people. Thus, you have become my enemy. What? Oh no. Back when she was creating the puppet, A had considered all the hidden risks involved. Oh no, that's coming back right now. That's coming back right now, actually. I wouldn't be surprised if the puppet says those exact words to her again when 2.5 comes out. Back when she was creating the puppet, A had considered all the hidden risks involved. I don't know. I mean, you couldn't have calculated the traveler though. She believed that anything was possible, including the worst case scenario in which she would someday become the Oh shit, dude! The writing! The writing! Dude, the writing is so good! They planned this shit! They planned this shit so well! She's literally the enemy of eternity now! She believed that anything was possible, including the worst case scenario in which she too would someday become the threat to eternity. But she had to press on. She had to reach eternity. This she would not permit to be stayed by any outside force. The puppet's words were something that she had asked herself long ago. You believe you are more firmly convicted now than you were yesterday, and this is why you are presently correct. Is that so? Do you presently have some new ideas, or have you too fallen victim to exonerable erosion? Their faces were the same, but they spoke in different ideals. The battle with herself, with her past, would come someday. Oh my fucking god. We actually might get... Oh my god, dude. I really hope she talks about her sister and Conria more with 2.5 as well, if we're really gonna be confronting our past and all that other shit. Like, there's so much good potential for all of this stuff to come back up to the surface, because it was very lightly addressed through Yae Miko dialogue and through that one cutscene at the end of Act 3. But there's so much potential. There's so much they can do with this. I just want her to talk about her sister. I just want her to talk about her sister more. That's like the one thing I want from her. The battle with herself, with her past, would come someday, but it was not this day. A knew well that she was not yet ready. Her heart was clear and she would remain in this state, but hearing the cries of her people, she had to command her feet to stop. The sky above the mirror was no longer empty, and all about the silent halls, she heard the cries of crows. Dawn was coming. The samurai must take up her sword. This dream was ever so real, and it too passed like a shadow. She had to pretty much ignore her people, otherwise the puppet would be like, you're being kind of sus today, all right? I don't know if you want to do this. Oh my god, this is so fucking good. MiHoYo literally set the groundwork for 2.5, and I'm surprised I called that shit before I started reading this, because it was the sequel to her first story quest, and her first story quest was all about changing her worldview, her perspective, that change is not necessarily a bad thing. Change can be good, but I never thought that that would have implications on the puppet, because the puppet is all about eternity, maintaining static, always, forever, and she thought of that too. She foresaw that, which is crazy, and she still went forward with it. And that's why in the trailer she says, I've left everything to Yae, like to Miko. She probably realized, if this someday happens, Miko, if this happens to me, here's what you need to do. And then that's why we have to do the Raiden Shogun's quest before we can do Yae's quest, and then the traveler gets involved as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if A is incapable of doing anything, like she's like under control of the puppet, and then that's when her quest ends, and that's when we can start A's quest, and then they kind of connect with each other. I wouldn't be surprised if that's how it happens. God, man, I'm so fucking excited. This excites me so much more. This excites me so much more for 2.5. I can't believe it. Okay, Musou Ishin, aka the Musono Hirotachi, my boy. A sword that once passed on has accompanied A to this day. So this originally was her sister's sword. This sword has had two wielders and has witnessed both time and eternity. It was born from Raiden Makoto's divine might, and it was never once sharpened. It took after its owner, of course, for Makoto was not one for battle. It was but a symbol, a sign of true peace. The day Makoto passed on, it was given to A's hands hands, and I guarantee you that's when it sharpened. The sword was stained with blood. Then, as the blade drew its first taste of crimson, it was blown aside by wild winds and blazing thunder. Makoto gave it the name Musou Ishin and desired to have it witness an Inazuma as lovely as the dreams and the noble hearts that dwelled in this world. Ei did not change its name. Okay, so Musou Ishin is the name of the sword, but I guess Musono Hidotachi is the name of the attack. She did not change its name, for she too had looked out over the vast scene of beauty, and the sight of it had engendered a stronger, purer dream in her own heart. The aesthetic of lightning is precisely to capture that which is precious amidst fleeting transience. God damn, dude. So that's cool. We get a little bit of lore on like her weapon and its meaning, which I didn't know that it belonged to her sister, but yeah, it passed on to her after she died. Last one, Gnosis. Before she came to dwell in the plane of Euthymia permanently, Ei was troubled for a time concerning where she might store her Gnosis. Ah! She gave it to Yae Miko, who gave it to the fucking puppet boy Scaramouche to save our life. You hate to see it. And it's crazy too that throughout all of this, like, we fought her 2 times, we got bodied by her once, and she never had the fucking Gnosis. I wonder which god we're gonna fight that has their Gnosis and is like its true godhood. I really hope it is the Saritsa. I feel like if anyone, it would be her, since she's collecting all of them. Who knows? She might actually like absorb all of the other ones and become like a pseudo god, like a god +2, like a Super Saiyan, but she's just like a Super Saiyan 7 with all of the Gnosis of the other Archons. That'd be fucking dope, dude. Mihoyo, write that down, okay? We're gonna come back to this in a couple years when I know I'm right, and I'm just gonna claim that you stole my idea like you steal all my other ideas. So we're definitely gonna call that one right now. All right, we're gonna call that like 5 years before it happens. She no longer had need of it, but such an important item could not simply be placed anywhere. She had initially intended to have it modified into an energy supply device, but no matter what she did, the technique had no effect on the Gnosis as well. And that was when she thought of someone, the cunning and clever Yae Miko. She was not precisely someone to be trusted, but she was in many ways also Ei's best choice. Oh. Upon hearing her request, Miko could not help but joke. Aren't you afraid that I might just sell it off? You understand the value of a Gnosis. Even if you sold it, I trust that you would have exchanged it for something of equal value, and that is no small price to pay. We are the equivalent of a Gnosis, ladies and gentlemen. Read it in wheat. She exchanged our life for the Electro Gnosis. Otherwise, Scaramouche would have killed us right then and there. So there you have it. And I guess it was needed because we ended up turning things around, so it worked out in the end. With someone of Yae Miko's character, it would be no surprise if she ever sold the Gnosis, yes, but she would not allow herself to lose out on any such exchange. Such then was the tacit agreement between the 2 old friends. Yae Miko understood Ei's intent and took the precious Gnosis with a smile. Well, this is your idea, not mine. Don't end up regretting this now. Nice. That was a phenomenal read of her backstory. I learned a lot more about her than I had ever known prior, about her sister, about the Musou Ishin, how she went about creating the puppet, and even like the fact that they foreshadowed 2.5. If you've read all of this stuff, had I read all of this stuff back then, I'd be able to put 2 and 2 together, be like, oh my god, this is from her dialogue. But it's still cool to kind of know about this before 2.5 comes out, so really happy about that. Good shit.
No salutations needed. My exalted status shall not be disclosed as we travel among the common folk. I acknowledge that you are a person of superior ability. Henceforth, you will be my guard. Worry not. Should any danger arise, I shall dispose of it.
Another thing too is that I really love how they differentiate the manner of speaking. You know when it's the Raiden Shogun talking, and you know when it's Ei talking, because Ei actually has like personality in her voice, whereas the Raiden Shogun literally feels like a fucking robot. And I liked that. I noticed that during the Archon quest too. Even like her demeanor, everything, like the way she talks, I'm like, oh my god, you sound like an actual person. So shout out to Anne Yatko for the amazing performance.
Inactivity serves no purpose whatsoever.
Oh, I like this quote too, because this is the quote that An also said during the trailer, and this is probably the quote from her I hear the most.
The world remains constant over the centuries, but human life is like the dew at dawn, or a bubble rising through water. Transitory.
I really like that quote.
All the world holds dear is but a backdrop of constant motion. I stand before it, alone and unchanging.
Sag.
Rainfall alone does not constitute a storm. Thunder is required.
She's like, I'm here, by the way.
Oh, Dear me.
Ah!
That didn't frighten you, did it?
That's A!
After all, you are in the presence of the most supreme and terrifying incarnation of lightning in the whole of Tevat.
Oh, I love that they went back and forth with them two. Oh, that's so nice.
The Winter Shogun approaches.
That's funny.
Clear skies can do nothing to hide the brilliance of lightning. Divine bolts can strike even in the absence of rain.
Oh, that's so cool.
Do you see that tree? Wait, you understand? So, demonstration is not required. Good.
Damn.
Yawning without covering your mouth. Uncouth. I will pardon your rudeness this time. Good morning to you, too.
Sheesh! Oh my god. She's like, you freaking uncultured swine. Cover your mouth next time.
Time for dessert. What? Why not? What do you mean entrees come first?
Oh!
They were only indulging me because I am the Shogun? Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, that's A right there. Dude, I love that. Now I'm just trying to spot which one's the Raiden Shogun and which one's A. I love that. Of course, dessert. She loves dessert, man. God, that's so good. I also just realized that when we were reading out Kujo-Sara's, I think Kujo-Sara said she doesn't like dessert, but that's what Raiden Shogun likes. Maybe she doesn't like it because she likes it. So she's like, I'll let the Raiden Shogun have her own thing.
I generally avoid sweet foods. Not that I have a strong aversion to them. Why? Well, sweet things put your mind and body at rest. So if I ever eat sweet things, it's easy to... Essentially, I mustn't slack off, and that's the end of it. No further questions on this topic.
Do you wish to know the truth about the shooting stars at night? They are but fleeting moments of luminosity. You used to be one of them?
Oh!
Oh? Are you a Tengu warrior?
Whoa, whoa, whoa. We're a shooting star, eh? I don't know if you should tell people that.
I command the thunder in all corners of the world to cease. Rest well tonight.
Hello, Raiden Shogun. Good night to you as well.
Thunder's roar and lightning's flash. So ephemeral. This is why reaching eternity is desirable. Actually, no. This is why reaching eternity is necessary.
Damn. Transients, man.
Erosion is a terrible thing. This body's purpose is to withstand wear and tear,
Yep.
that the one within might achieve eternity.
Damn, dude. It's so good, man. This fucking game is so good.
I declare you my Chamberlain. In other words, according to my judgment, you are useful to the Shogunate and loyal to me.
Okay, you heard it here first. Sorry, Lisa. All right, I have to answer to the one true Electro Queen, and that is the Electro Archon who made you who you are, okay? Or not, but anyways, you're Electro, she's Electro. I'd rather side with the god than the Witch of Purple Rose.
Despite serving as my guard during this journey,
Ooh.
you need not shield me from danger. The Shogun's constitution is rather robust, and in the event she does break down, we can simply get a replacement. In an emergency, just send her into the fray.
I was about to say, what happens if the puppet breaks? Like, what happens if Aether does some fucking Super Saiyan type shit and, like, chops the fucking puppet in half? How do you replace that? Maybe you can replace it with some different admin fucking settings, too. That would help. Maybe that's foreshadowing, too. Who knows?
The Inazuman arts of polearm and sword combat, as well as the blade forging process itself, primarily originated with me.
Ooh.
Since then, they have branched out and blossomed into a variety of techniques according to each master's individual aptitude. What would you say to another sparring session?
No thank you.
If you emerge unscathed again, I'll let you found your own martial arts tradition in Inazuma.
I don't know.
The drive to advance and evolve in the martial arts is truly unstoppable.
I'll just say that for that second time we won, I had some buddies on my side. I feel like I was a little bit, like, Yae Miko also helped me out a little bit there too. So I don't know how I'd fare in a fight this time around. Visions.
Really? So in all this time, no new electrovisions have appeared in the outside world?
Oh!
Well, what I can say on this topic is subject to certain constraints, but It is not by my will that visions are granted or denied.
What?
The key is people's desire, and, well, there's another side to it too.
Wait a minute. I literally did a world quest a year ago where Soraya literally said Electrovisions have not been given out for over a year, and that's because the Electro Archon is going on a vision hunt decree. No, my theory! Oh my god, my theory was actually wrong, but for like up until the point of this time, it was pretty much set in stone that that's how it worked. Oh god, Soraya, you're gonna fail the fucking Sumeru Academia with that thesis. I gotta stop her, god damn it. No! Dude, I actually wish that that was the case. It's just way better. I think it's way better. Yo, Soraya's about to get an F on the fucking Sumeru Academia. I feel so bad for her. Ah, man. So what does she mean by there is another side to it too? If she doesn't give it out, is it really Celestia that gives it out then? So it's not her will that visions are granted or denied. So it's not up to her who gets a vision and who doesn't. So it must be something that Celestia does to keep tabs on people, right? Because in my opinion, if Celestia does feel like threatened by this world to the point where they're nuking fucking civilizations from orbit, killing civilizations overnight, then I would think that anybody that gets a vision is someone that Celestia feels they need to watch and keep an eye on, a vision on, in case they're essentially an enemy. And for those of you guys who didn't read the manga, I remember in the manga, right, Lady Vanessa, she ascends to Celestia. She goes literally into Celestia. She opens the door, and it's like this circular chamber room. It looks like a prison almost. I don't know if that's what their whole thing was about that, but it looked like she was walking into like a coliseum almost, but it looked like there were like doors and rooms the higher and higher you go up. But she ends up becoming the Falcon, so I don't really understand. Did she become the Falcon and then ascend? Is she still the Falcon now? I don't know, but I almost feel like the ability to ascend is just a way of saying, hey, we're just gonna lock you away so you don't cause any issues for us in the future, because that vision could turn you into a god, and that could turn into a problem for us down the road. It's called Panopticon. Okay, I didn't know that. So she became the Falcon of the West to watch over Mondstadt, and then she ascends, and then it's kind of like, enjoy your prison, lady. Because now we know that Celestia is from the outside world, so why give people on this planet visions in the first place, right? Why help these people out? You don't even make your presence known, you know? Only time will tell, but I'm very sus with visions, and especially gnosis, because I feel like gnosis are the equivalent. They're like the ball and chain for gods. The visions are to keep tabs on the lesser pawns, and then the rooks, the bishops, and the knights, those are like the archons, and they're the ones that have the gnosis, which is basically a god version of a vision. And then in Celestia is where all the kings and queens are, you know? So it's just one big fucking chess game that's kind of ridiculous. Anyways, let's see.
No, I have nothing to share with you at this time. But you use elemental energy without the aid of a vision. How is this possible?
Uh-oh.
Please enlighten me.
You are the enemy of eternity. Yeah, I can't even explain that one.
Her body may have perished, but she became the sacred Sakura. This, too, is a form of eternity.
That's cute. Yae Miko!
That girl.
Oh, and it's by A.
She used to be the kind of person who could easily be swayed with some fried tofu. It's a relief to see how shrewd and resourceful she's now become. Still, I have to admit that I was a little upset to become the target of her scheming myself.
Yeah.
I know it was for my own good.
Yeah.
But I'm afraid she will mock me the next time we meet. Perhaps I should take the initiative and strike her first. She'll dodge it anyway.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how these two interact in 2.5. Dude, I'm so fucking hyped for 2.5. I can't fucking wait. And I'm really excited to learn more about Yae Miko's lore when we get her to Friendship 6. So this has me so hyped for 2.5, way more than I initially was.
Kamisato.
Ayato!
One of the most distinguished clans in all of Inazuma. Despite Ayato's trickery in regard to the Tri-Commission's affairs, he is nevertheless a loyal subject. His past misdeeds shall be excused.
Oh, damn. You're lucky. Ayaka.
Kamisato. One of the most distinguished clans in all of Inazuma. Huh? That's exactly what the Shogun said?
Oh, I like that. So this one was quoted from the Shogun, and then this one was quoted from Ei, but they literally started both of them the exact same way. I was like, wait a minute, why is she repeating herself? That's so clever.
Kamisato.
That's nice.
One of the most distinguished clans in all of Inazuma. Huh? That's exactly what the Shogun said? Well, Ayaka's also well versed in the art of the sword.
I guess her brother is too. See, they complement each other really well, like for the permafreeze comp. I don't know how Ayato is gonna function though. I hope he's hydro DPS, but like she's ice and he's water, so I feel like they complement each other really, really well.
A loyal and righteous subject, and an accomplished warrior. She is worthy to be called a hero. With an air of such great promise, the future prosperity of the Kujo clan is assured. Who?
What do you mean, who? Yae Miko, the summer festival girl.
Who? The firework maker.
Damn.
A manufacturer of fleeting illusions.
Who?
Enamored with the realm of fantasy and imagination, but a subject of mine nonetheless. Fireworks were released on Tenryou Commission property? By whom? Her?
Oh no, you're about to get a citation, Yae Miko, run! Damn, she's like, wait, what? Fireworks on my property?
I can't deny that I am somewhat culpable in the events that led to him being almost stripped of his vision.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But I rather think the Shogun should be the one to extend a formal apology to him.
That's true.
Okay, fine. I'll give it some more thought.
You're pretty much the one that allowed the Shogun to do that to Toma. Almost yoinked his vision from him.
Indeed. It was I who slew Orobashi. But I also allowed the people of Sangonomiya to continue worshipping it as the Watatsumi Omikami, so that it might enjoy their offerings. Now,
when he's dead,
Sangonomiya has destroyed the local Narukami shrine and rebels against the shogunate. As the divine priestess representing the Watatsumi Omikami, she must be held accountable.
But did you have to kill him, though? I love how she's like, yeah, I'm the one that killed that serpent, but I still let them worship its dead body so it can enjoy the offerings, even though it's dead. What the hell? God, Sun and Moon really be acting up out here, dude. Here's the thing, though. I think Ei doesn't know. I think only Orobashi knew, and then Orobashi knew Celestia would come for him and the people of Watatsumi. So Orobashi staged being a threat, and Ei basically was the executioner. It wasn't like Celestia called the Raiden Shogun and put a hit out for the snake, and then she did it. It was quite literally like the snake did it as like an assisted suicide almost. Like he had to end himself to protect his people. The killing of Orobashi was ordered by Celestia. See, here's the thing. I don't know everything, so this is a lot of speculation on my part, but how did Orobashi know that there was a hit out on him? That's the first thing. The second thing is, if he knew there was a hit out on him and he decided to leave Watatsumi Island, that must mean he knew that he was going to be killed and he decided to leave and stage a crisis or whatever. Yeah, he read the book, but I don't know how did Celestia know and how did he know that Celestia knew to put a hit out on him. You know what I mean? Also, don't answer anything for me. I'm going to read these books eventually. All speculation, conjecture. I don't really know necessarily because I don't know the whole story of everything regarding like the books and the flavor text and all that stuff. So take what I say with a grain of salt, but I'm just speculating here. From what history mentions, they also mention that the snake attacked first. So the snake probably did that to instigate being killed. I don't necessarily think Ei was called by Celestia to kill the snake. I think the snake decided to do that because it already knew that it had a target on its back. How he knew he had a target on his back is unclear. Also, there's a new fucking name here that I've never seen before. Kunikuzushi. Is that another potential playable character?
He came about as a byproduct of creating the Shogun.
Oh, hold on.
Perhaps it's because I feel like I owe him something, but I do not wish to assert control over him.
Wait! Was that Scaramouche's original name when he lived as a fucking Inazuman boy or man? Oh! Yo! That's so sick! All right, that all but confirms that Scaramouche is gonna be playable, right? That all but confirms it, right? Kunikuzushi. So Yae Miko mentioned that originally there was a prototype puppet that was created while she was experimenting, but Ei didn't want to destroy it. So she kind of let it do its own thing, and it lived its life as an Inazuman man, and it walked and roamed the world or whatever. And then down the road, it got into the hands of the Fatui, who unlocked its true power, and then it became known as the Balladeer, aka Scaramouche. Dude, you know what would be fucking sick? Is if when we get Scaramouche, they refer to him as Kunikuzushi, his original name. Because otherwise, why wouldn't you just have him as, does she know that that's Scaramouche? Maybe that's how she knows him, but she doesn't know what became of him, but Yae Miko does? Maybe that's why. Maybe from her perspective, that's how she sees him. Kind of like her son, technically. Like, she created Scaramouche unbeknownst to her. No, that's actually his real name then, if you think about it, because Scaramouche and Balladeer are like code names. Almost kind of like Child and Tartaglia are like code names, but his real name is Ajax. So there's Balladeer, there's Scaramouche, and then there's Kunikuzushi. Oh my god. So we know his name. This is his real name. This is his true name. That's so sick. That's so fucking cool. Oh, dude, I can't wait for Scaramouche to come back, dude. I'm so Kunikuzushi. I have to get used to saying that. I'm gonna be saying that and people are gonna be like, what the fuck are you talking about, Arnold? That's how we're gonna figure out who's reading and who isn't. All right, dude, that's so fucking sick. Arataki, damn! How are you gonna disrespect my boy like that? That's a fucking Oni, just like Chio. Who? Oh, you're fucking capping right now.
Who?
I'm so pissed. I'm heated, bro. How you gonna do Arataki to the victor go the spoils Ito dirty like that, man? I'm pissed. I'm not gonna sit idly by and tolerate this Arataki Ito slander, okay? Y'all definitely need to hang out. Imagine she hung out with him. You know what I also love? Little side mention here. I love that there's like a new generation of Yae Miko's the fox, Arataki Ito's the Oni, Kujo Sara's the Tengu, and like Ryden Shogun is the new shogun. Like, I just like how there's like a new generation to Ei's original friends in Inazuma now. I think that's really, really nice. I like that. Not a fan of the disrespect for Ito though. Come on now.
I had an opportunity to feast with him once.
Ooh.
Back when I was just a Kagemusha attending a gathering of the gods.
Wow.
So he's made his choice. Be that as it may, I don't believe his story is anywhere near finished yet.
Wow, so she doesn't think he's dead. She knows that he's still around. Yo, Zhongli's story's not over yet. I'm excited because I love me some Zhongli. I'm really, really excited to see what he does next in the story. Venti!
That's the name the animal Archon takes these days, is it? Truth be told, from the very first moment I met him, I could somehow sense that we were not going to get along. Also, he sure can drink a lot.
Yeah, he knows your secret weakness, by the way, desserts. Oh, I like that. That's so funny. They don't like, she doesn't like Venti. That's so funny. I like that. Okay, let's keep it going.
State your query. To the point.
Okay, anyways.
On stormy days, the people of Inazuma chant Kuwabara, Kuwabara.
Kuwabara?
Believing that this will protect themselves from being struck by lightning.
Fools!
You need not worry about any storm summoned by my own hand. They will bring you no harm. Lightning storms that occur naturally, however, can be more unpredictable.
Yeah, okay. You know how many times I get struck in this fucking region? It's ridiculous. I know you're on to me, all right? I know you're out here acting up. I know you're out here, like, putting a target on my back. Oh, we get to learn about the Raiden Shogun and about Ei. That's so nice.
The account given in the book, Treasured Tales, is largely an accurate one.
Ooh.
At that time, she was preoccupied with various domestic matters within the island, so as her Kagemusha, I assumed her identity and joined the troops dispatched to pacify Watatsumi.
Wow.
After this point, however, the story turns into mere wishful thinking. Back then, I was just a martial artist wrapped up in all the fighting, not a social reformer or a moral leader.
Huh. I do think I have a book that talks about the original Electro Archon. I think I did get a book from the Yae Publishing House at some point in the past. I don't know if it's called Treasure Tales. I don't remember the name of it, but I remember the description mentioned that it talked about Makoto. So I don't know if that's the same book.
Perhaps my pursuit of eternity is nothing more than a form of escapism.
You think?
In the end, The path I took was like that of a turtle who hides in its shell.
Yeah, that actually is facts.
Still, turtles have always been a symbol of longevity. Perhaps in order to reach eternity, one has to follow their example.
All right, to seek eternity, become turtle. There you go. Freaking nailed it. Easy clap, boys.
I'm fearful because of what I witnessed 500 years ago.
Oh, God. Oh, Conria, you motherfuckers. You're out here traumatizing gods.
I'm fearful because of what I witnessed 500 years ago. Her demise and that thing.
That thing?
But if
What thing?
it were you, everyone would be safe.
That thing?
You would have saved the world. Just like I cherish the memories of everything in Inazuma. If you remember me, I'll live forever.
That thing? What the fuck? What the fuck is what thing is in Conria? Are they talking about the sustainer of heavenly principles? That's hardly a thing. That's like a god woman, an unknown god. Oh my god, dude. Is there like a fucking ruin guard calamity monster that's over there? That's just like a freaking destroyer of gods, like a god eater, a god slayer. That thing. Dude, she's afraid of something she saw at Conria, and she's a fucking god now. I'm scared of Conria. I'm scared of what the fuck is there.
Foolish question. There are only two kinds of things. Those that must be done, and those that must not.
Okay, well, thank you for your words of wisdom, Ryden Shogun. I appreciate it.
Don't try and get me to cook. I can take care of anything else, but not that.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, she's the only character in the game that you can't cook with. It says that this character is unable to cook. It's so fucking funny. I love how they have that for her. That's so good.
Oh, don't listen to the Shogun. Desserts. Cavities are no big deal. You can just replace your teeth. Anyway, I just don't see how desserts can pose a serious obstacle to my pursuit of eternity.
Well, you gotta maintain a perfect eternal physique. If you're out here eating sweets all day, that's gonna be your undoing. Oh my god, that's so funny. She's like, cavities? Yo, who needs teeth? Just replace your teeth and eat more junk food. There you go. That's how you do it. You can actually do that these days too, which is pretty crazy.
Foolish question. There are only two kinds of
Oh
foods.
my god, Ryden.
Those that must be consumed to nourish the body, and those that harm it.
Damn, you're such a buzzkill, Raiden Shogun. Okay, I can't wait till we fight this puppet and get rid of it for good, hopefully. There's only two kinds of foods, the kind you eat and the kind you don't. Like, yeah, which one's your favorite? All right, birth date. Oh, she's got like technically like a birthday?
Is today the day of your creation? Return to the city.
What? Oh, I get it. So that's, oh my god. I was like, what birth date and then birthday? She's such a robot, man. That's such a robot approach. Birthday? I thought she was talking about the day she was created, not me. Oh my gosh, she's such a robot, dude. No, don't worry, it's fine. I'm gonna forget this before my birthday anyway, so we're gonna skip over those. Jesus Christ. I got baited by a bot.
The initial stage of my journey, or shoden, involves learning the 9-way sword slash and the foundations of the art of the polearm.
Pog?
There is no great variation from other traditions at this point. Or rather, it is the other traditions that do not differ from mine.
Doesn't she have a 9 slash attack when it comes to her Musoto Hirotachi attack? If that's true, that's really well established here.
At the intermediate stage of my journey, or chuden, the art of the sword focuses on the study of various stances and transitions. The art of the polearm slashes and backslashes.
Okay, leveling up, I see.
The final stage of my journey, or kaiden, is the study of the most profound techniques. Unavoidably, these draw heavily on elemental power, rendering them beyond the capabilities of most mortals. Most practitioners of other traditions are unable to ever reach this level.
Like pulling a sword out of your breasts. That's definitely beyond the capabilities of most mortals.
The profoundest of the profound is the Musou no Hitotachi.
Oh, there it is!
A sword art without parallel in all the world. With you as my sparring partner, I can perfect that technique even further.
Does that mean she's gonna use it on me to practice? I don't know if I want that. Dude, Raiden Shogun lore absolutely fucking goated, man. That's so fucking good. This is probably my favorite lore that we've done today so far. Like, obviously, we've only done Kujo-Sara's and the Traveler and Paimon, but this one is such a good one. I'm so excited how closely it's tied to 2.5 and just learning more about Ei and the Raiden Shogun's dynamic and just everything that's happened with Eternity, the Inazuma Archon quest, Ei's story quest, the part 2 that's coming out, Yae Miko, and everything else in between. I'm a big fan of all of this that we learned today. This has me super excited for 2.5 for sure, so very excited to finally learn more about Raiden Shogun and Ei. Nice.